What's up, guys? We have our first conference finals matchup, and that's going to be on the west side. So, the Western Conference Finals will be between the Edmonton Oilers and the Colorado Avalanche. This is an interesting matchup because we get to see Nate the Great, Nathan McKinnon versus Connor McJesus, Connor McDavid battle it out, and the winner heads to the Stanley Cup Finals. Um, it's the first time since 2002 that the Colorado Avalanche head to the Western Conference Finals. And can we potentially see the Edmonton Oilers reach the finals for the first time since 2006? That is to be seen. This is going to be an interesting matchup because we know how powerful Colorado is. We know that they're definitely the favorites to go to the finals and obviously be the Stanley Cup champions. The Edmonton Oilers, on the other hand, were supposed to get eliminated versus Calgary, and boy, was I wrong. I literally thought that the Calgary Flames were going to eliminate the Edmonton Oilers in 6 games. I said it was
Listen,
going to
you
be a
weren't the
game
only
three.
wrong one there. My bracket is completely destroyed right now. I said Calgary was going to win the Stanley Cup, and
So
it's
did
not
I.
looking
So
good.
did I was very confident because Colorado was a team that was built for the playoffs from the management that they had up until the players on the ice, and they were really heavy in terms of playoff experience, championship pedigree, and also having a lot of talent. And unfortunately, that didn't work. And the Vesna nominated goalie, Jacob Markstrom, did not play like a Vesna nominated goalie. And I'm not saying Mike Smith played any better. It was definitely horrible for both goalies. But at the end of the day, Superstars won this series between the two Alberta teams. And McDavid and Draisaitl helped their team advance to the Western Conference Finals.
Here's the thing, though, is that I don't want to come across as like, oh, you're always against Edmonton because I said that they were gonna lose versus LA, and I said they were gonna lose versus Calgary, but like versus Colorado, listen, they have first of all, let's be honest, Calgary, besides Johnny Gaudreau, is there any like elite scoring player on that team? You can argue Matthew Tkachuk, but not really. Like on the other side, Colorado, you got Nathan McKinnon, you got Rantanen, you got Nazem Kadri, you
Were you
have
talking about
Landeskog.
Calgary before by mentioning Chuck?
Yeah,
Okay. I was confused. I thought you were talking about Edmonton versus Colorado.
no, no, no. And you got Makar on defense. Like not nothing against Calgary, but they play a very defensive style. There's less goals. I think Colorado, not only do they have great defensemen, but they got great scorers. And at the end of the day, Mike Smith's gonna get lit up, and it's not gonna look good. I mean,
So you're
there's
saying
only there's
that
only so much that Draisaitl and McDavid could do.
so
Like
you're
I
saying
think
that
it could go to 6.
the Edmonton Oilers are a better matchup for Colorado because they have superstar power, whereas Calgary lack that essentially.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the reason why Edmonton beat Calgary is because Calgary lacked. Well, I find they lacked, some scoring, and the goaltending
I
also wasn't
mean,
that great. I mean, yeah, the first
their
game
first line
was nuts, but
their first line of Boudreaux, Lindholm, and Tkachuk was one of the best first lines in the
but
league,
that's what I'm
and they
saying.
underperformed in the playoffs.
Besides them, I mean, who do you have? And on Colorado side, any line could score. I mean, you got Brukarovsky could score. Um, Forget about the first line. The first line, arguably, is just as good as the Edmonton Oilers' first line, if not slightly better on defense. Listen, they have Kilmacar. They have his
Devin
name's on the tip of my
Taves,
Devon Taves,
Samuel Girard
Samuel
unfortunately is
Girard.
missing
Yeah, he's missing the
the
games,
rest of the playoffs due to an injury, so he won't be there.
and they have
But
the better
they have
goaltender.
Josh Manson as well. They have the two Johnsons. Um, they're in good hands, and on terms of defense, Kemper is not the best goalie in the world.
Well, he's
I
better
think
than
he's
Mike Smith, in my
yeah,
opinion.
he is
Anyway,
definitely better than Mike Smith. But I mean, look what happened between Markstrom and Smith. Smith, he somehow triumphant over the Vesna nominated goaltender Markstrom. So I don't know how Markstrom really fumbled the bag hard. He really choked. But then again, it takes a team to play in front of him, and unfortunately, Calgary wasn't good enough. And Edmonton, thanks to not only McDavid but also Zach Hyman and Nuge
Leon
and
Draisaitl.
Kane and Draisaitl, of course, their top six were the better top six in the series, and they helped them win the series. Um, Another thing, the Colorado Avalanche passed the second round for the first time in 20 years. So that's great for them. Honestly, they finally get over that hump. Something similar to the Washington Capitals. There were second round chokers. I think Colorado was like the modern day Washington Capitals, and finally they overcame that. But then again,
And here's the
is it?
thing, though,
Do you
is
think
that
this is an easy matchup? Do you think? Okay, let me reinstate that question. Do you think this is the easy path for the Colorado Avalanche to go through?
absolutely not. Actually, well, they're gonna. It's. I think St. Louis is definitely the best team that they've played so far.
Well, they
But
took out Bennington, and as soon as Bennington was injured, the series is over.
yeah, so but the Edmonton Oilers. How can I phrase this? The Edmonton Oilers were they were the underdogs in every single matchup, and even in this one.
I don't.
So
The LA one, I think they were favorites in my opinion.
I don't know. A lot of people
It
would.
was either their
I th- I
favorites or
think
it was
I
evenly
think
matched.
I think LA were the heavier favorites just because of goaltending and defense. But
Yeah, but Drew Doughty was injured for for LA, so that was a whole different story. You
yeah,
know what I
but
mean?
their forwards play good defense too. It's not just defensemen
Yeah,
that I'm talking
Kopitar,
about.
yeah,
Just
Kopitar
in
and Dano
general.
are very good two-way forwards. But I mean,
So I mean, listen. At the end of the day, I think what's gonna judge what's gonna choose a winner for this matchup to see who goes to the finals is goaltending for sure. I mean, not that Colorado has a fantastic starting goaltender, but it's better than the 40-year-old senior citizen Mike Smith. But defense going to play a big part, which Colorado definitely has the better defense. And then it comes down to McDavid and Draisaitl versus McKinnon and his first line. I think it's gonna be who has the better offense in this one. I think that's what it
do
is, and
you
the
think
goaltender's got
do
to
you
show up.
think that Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl could single-handedly, as a duo in this case, beat the Colorado Avalanche, or this is like an impossible task?
Well, nothing's impossible in sports, let alone hockey. The thing is, though, is that hockey is a very, very, very like it's a very team oriented sport. It's not like I'm going to take the NBA for instance, where you get LeBron James and LeBron James single-handedly carries your team. It's not the same. I think hockey relies really heavily on depth, and if you have the best depth and the best defense, and I think that's what wins you championships at the end of the day, not necessarily having the two best players in the world. Although it does help, the team overall has to perform well. So
Look, my opinion is that
I
Colorado is going to take this in six.
Yeah, that's where I see it going in six and Colorado
But
winning that.
Edmonton is going to surprise people, and they're going to put up a very good performance against Colorado. And I think the X factor for Edmonton, if they want to win the series, once again, is Mike Smith. Is he going to play consistent hockey, or is he going to play inconsistent hockey and let in 6 to 9 goals?
And I
You know what I
feel
mean?
bad. I feel bad saying that Edmonton's gonna lose because I mean they've proven me wrong twice already. But
They're the only
it's just
Canadian team left, and us Canadian boys are
yeah.
rooting for
I
Edmonton.
really want them to win. And not only for Canada or whatever. Just like McDavid's been and Draisaitl, like they've been kind of like rotting in Edmonton. They've this like probably the best team they've ever had. Arguably one of the
They
best
have a
teams they've
pretty
ever
good
had
team on
going to
paper. The
the.
only thing they're really lacking in is the goaltending department. But I mean, then again,
The defense needs a little bit of work too. I think. There's some guys that are a bit shaky,
you
inconsistent.
have Connor McDavid closing out the series in OT in fashionable style, and then you have
See, that's what you need from your top guys. You need them to show up when it counts the most, and in overtimes, that's when you need.
Darren
You know,
Helm, who scored with 6 seconds left in the third period uh, to win the series against the St. Louis Blues in 6 games. So I mean, like both teams ended their series in fashionable style. I just wanted to say that let's go and take a look at the points in terms of playoff performers. You have Leon Draisaitl with 26 points in 12 games, tied with Connor McDavid, 26 points in 12 games. You have Evander Kane with 15 points in 12 games, and you have Zach Hyman, 12 points in 12 games. If you hear my dog crying, it's currently raining, so I apologize. Give me a second.
Yeah, your dog's kind of crazy when it comes to like bad weather and stuff, huh? Even when it's like snowstorms.
Sorry, guys. I hope that didn't take you out of the video. Um, so
Well,
look,
your dog finally showed up for the first time on screen, so
yeah, finally, maybe your dog's gonna show up eventually.
yeah,
And
maybe
you have
maybe.
Evan Bouchard, who's playing fantastic hockey, 8 points in 12 games, and Ryan Nugent Hawkins, 11 points in 12 games. So like right there, it shows that their top six has been showing up, and we tend to have this problem in the playoffs where the top six tends to disappear for many teams, and then that's why the bottom six is tasked to bail their team out. You know, bottom six is very important in the playoffs. Defensive hockey. In terms of also hitting, forechecking,
Yeah, the third
going
line
in
is
the
probably the
gritty
most
areas.
important in playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah, the energy line, whatever you want to call consider the characteristics that are associated with the third and fourth line. They're very, very key and important parts of a winning playoff team, especially going on a run. It takes a whole team effort, like you were saying, not just one player, and that's why I think that the Edmonton Oilers are different this time around. Their top six is there, but obviously McDavid being McDavid is gonna be in a league of his own and be the star. But I mean, we cannot forget about Drysdale. We cannot forget about the addition of Evander Kane, who's been literally perfect on that team. Ryan Nugent Hawkins playing some good hockey, very not really spoken about, but I mean he's playing some great hockey. And Zach Hyman, another addition during the past off season, another good addition. And Evan Bouchard, a guy who was drafted by Edmonton. He's their top defenseman. He's playing better hockey than Darnell Nurse and better hockey than Tyson Berry.
You know what baffles me is that if this front office would have just gotten somewhat of a solid goaltender, you could well listen. You could argue Mike Smith's been playing okay, but if you could get like a solid, like consistent guy, imagine Fleury would have been on the Edmonton Oilers like it was rumored.
Yeah.
I think this team it would have been no brainer.
Or maybe they could have got Capo Kakinen from
Or that
Minnesota.
too. That too. I don't know. I don't know. Listen, maybe they listen. Maybe I guess they have faith in Mike Smith. I get. Well, I mean, listen. It's going good so far. But you
He's
could
been
only.
a he's been a goalie that's been deeply underappreciated throughout his whole career. And I know that he's had some very bad games at times, but I mean every goalie does. A lot of people like to poke fun at Mike Smith, but it is what it is. I respect the guy, I respect his career. He's been playing for so long. He's 40 or 41 years old at the moment. Like you gotta give credit where credit's due, right? So and look, he's in the Western Conference Finals and he beat Vezina nominated freaking Jacob Markstrom. And in terms of Colorado, you have Nathan McKinnon, 13 points. You have Kale McCarr, 13, Landeskog, 11, Ranton, 11, Kadri, 10, Devon Taves, 8. You know, it's very, again, even their top six, and they're also their
Their
defense
defense.
is solid as well. Everyone talks about McCarr, but hey, man, Devon Taves
Devin.
is freaking he's a great defenseman. He's the perfect pairing for McCarr, and I think that's one of the strongest pairings in the league. And Darnell Nurse and Tyson Berry are gonna have to step up their game offensively because if they want to beat the Colorado Avalanche, sorry, they're gonna have to be it because they're gonna have to
And
be what
Tyson
they're
Berry's playing
capable of
against his
being.
old team now, huh?
Yeah,
That's
Tyson
gonna be
Barrett's playing against
interesting.
his old team.
Yeah.
And, let's talk a little bit about the battle between McDavid and McKinnon because I know everyone's dying to see that. Two Canadian boys, probably the best Canadian players at the moment in the NHL, and two very young players as well. The future faces of the NHL, I would say, apart from like guys like Leon Draisaitl and maybe you can make a case for Nikita Kucherov and so on and so forth. But
I'm gonna say
um,
a very controversial thing right now that I mentioned
oh
earlier
God,
tonight about it.
not again.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. I have to. Edmonton fans, please don't get mad at me. But Connor
Explain
McDavid,
why.
I'm gonna explain. I'm not saying that he's better. I'm not saying that he's worse than Nathan McKinnon because it's not true. Connor McDavid, he's just the best player in the world. Okay, best player, very gifted offensively, better than McKinnon in my opinion. But defensively, I'm sorry, but Nathan McKinnon, he's just better. He's just better when it comes to defense. At the end of the day, Connor McDavid is not as superior than McKinnon. And I think let's listen, if it's gonna be a one on one, it's gonna be I think if it's gonna be top line versus top line, I think it's gonna be super tight. But I think Colorado again takes it just because of the defense. And like I say, defense wins games. So that
I
that
mean, that's a bold take. We'll see what
well
the
you'll
comments
see.
are
Listen,
in the
listen.
comment section below.
You could check the stats, okay? I mean, like, sure, Connor McDavid scores a bunch of goals more so than Nathan McKinnon, or if not, McKinnon's somewhat close to him. But defensively, I'm sorry, Nathan McKinnon,
Oh yeah,
he's defensively talented,
I would say he's a very good
you
two-way
know. And
player.
during the season, I know that McDavid and Draisaitl were kind of getting kind of some comments from certain people about their defensive play. Uh, I mean, even
Well,
though it was not totally their fault during the season, but still, like
Dave Tippett and also McLean, the two ex Edmonton coaches that were with McDavid during his career, criticized his defensive game in the past. But I mean,
yeah, it's not by all means, it's not bad at all. He's better than well, he's better than a lot of he's better than I'd say 95% of players. But that McDavid, you know, McKinnon's defensively, in my opinion, listen, in my opinion, I find he's a bit more talented two way. But scoring obviously goes to McDavid. But in the
yeah,
playoffs, it's all about defense.
McDavid could carry a team on his back, and I would say he makes everyone look better. We could all agree on that, and also we could make the case for McKinnon as well. Makes people look better. I just wanted to make a correction on my part. Devon Taves has 9 points, not eight. He got a point tonight in Game 6 against St. Louis, and I just wanted to say that in our hearts, obviously we want to go for the Edmonton Oilers, which we are. We're hoping for that, Canadian representation. But deep down, we know that Colorado has the better team overall, from
Defensively.
defensively too, goaltending wise too. We'll see if the Oilers upset, man. They upset the Calgary Flames. Maybe they could upset the Colorado Avalanche. And let's just read some comments before we end this episode. We have Josh saying that Oilers will win. You're very confident. We'll see if
Yeah,
that
we hope
happens.
so.
And we have John Ross saying, I feel it would be a hard fought battle, but I see Oilers taking this. So a lot of Oilers uh, fans, I would say, or people that are very confident the Oilers are going to upset the Colorado
Listen, it
Avalanche.
could be they proved me wrong twice. I could see it them proving me
They
wrong a
proved me
third
wrong
time.
once, and we're going to be talking about the next series once the matchups are completed. I mean, Tampa's, they swept the Florida Panthers, which, my God, I'm gonna explain my
Yeah,
thoughts
when
on
we
that
get
when
into
the
the
episode
next,
happens.
yeah,
But let's just say that was a total shocker, and now we're waiting between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Rangers, see what happens there. And we want to hear your predictions. Who wins the Western Conference Finals and receives the Clarence S. Campbell Bowl trophy, and how many games does it take for either team to win? And let us know who's going to be the MVP of this series, and what are the X factors in this series for both teams. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this to any Edmonton fans, Colorado fans, or anyone that's in love with the sport of hockey or is really interested in the Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll see you on the next episode. Have a nice night, guys.